Hello, everyone. I'm John Bodie, and I'm one of the learning specialists for the Office of Disability Services here at Smith. Um, what we found is that with all the summer programs in the past years, it's very intense trying to organize your life and your time and getting everything done because it's just everything is so crammed into such a small time frame. But now that you're remote, it's going to make it even more difficult because you're not immersed in the academic environment, in the culture itself. And so what we decided is to try to make a real quick video to help you to maybe fine tune your motivation a little bit, as well as your time management tools and skills. So why don't we dive right into it real quick, and we can focus on those things. Here we go. So as I said, I'm John Bodie, and I'm a learning specialist. Now, one of the problems is that you're going to be Zooming a lot of your classes, and that's going to be a real difficult undertaking for the social work program because there's so much going on. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about is how do you initiate and sustain your focus? The first thing is space. What is the most conducive to you for your academic work? Does it invite you to play and relax? Do you have to set up a desk somewhere in wherever you're at so that it says to your psyche, it's time to work? So be very cognizant of that in terms of what space are you going to create that really tells you it is time to work. The second thing is, how do you motivate yourself? How do you generate the energy if you're not going to classes, if you're not with your peers, if you're not on campus feeling that academic push, right? And so what I've really looked at is how we can functionally help to motivate ourselves. When I was doing my comprehensive exams for my doctorate, I looked at motivation theory from like 1920s all the way up through to when I was writing it. And I sort of boiled all of it down into basically four functional things that we can do to help motivate. And the first thing is doable goals. Now, the problem is that most people, they think about tasks when they think about a doable goal. Okay, I'm going to read chapter 7. The problem is you don't know how long that's going to take. It really does not connect you with time. And one of the most important limitations of people during the summer is how they spend their time. How is your relationship with time? And so what I always suggest is not focusing on tasks, but focusing on time as a doable goal. And in that way, you focus on maybe 1 hour time blocks, right? For students that I work with who have attention deficit or depression or something in that vein, it might be a half an hour time block where they can only go a half an hour, and then they either need to take a break or they need to switch. They need to manage their switching behavior to another course. And so start thinking about time blocks, because what you'll start to figure out is, okay, these readings for this class, they take more than 2 1-hour time blocks. And so then you can start actually moving towards a better relationship with time in relationship to the things that you have to do, okay? So think about doable goals around time blocks instead of tasks. The second thing, which is very behavioral, is build in rewards, okay? Procrastination is really not having goals and not having rewards that will be connected to getting those goals done. It's really, in some ways, procrastination is the reverse order of things, right? You're doing something and then you do your work. Well, what we can do is consciously create schedules where, okay, if I do these 1 hour time blocks working on this stuff, then I get this reward, whether it's, you know, YouTube, or if you're a gamer, or if you want to do some social things like, you know, go out with your significant other, or you know, call a friend or whatever. So start thinking about how you procrastinate and use those behaviors as rewards for after you get it done. Make a deal with your psyche that, okay, if I do these things, then I can do the reward, right? The next thing is personal standards, reasonable standards. A lot of people, this turns into perfectionism. And I think the perfectionism, a lot of times, will be connected to grades. And what I found is that they are external to yourself. Grades are not really motivators, they're just stressors. And so what I talk to people about doing with each of your classes is think about what interest you have in the class, right? What knowledge base do you want to build from the class? Also, maybe what kind of improvement do you want to do? Do you want to improve your reading? Do you want to improve how you counsel? Do you want to improve how you write a paper and research? Think about those things, and those things are internal to yourself that you actually have control over, and that'll help you generate the drive for you to really kind of get some work done. And the last thing is self-monitoring, right? So you have to take a look at your doable goals and then the rewards, and then start to monitor yourself. And that, folks, is time management. And I know that a lot of you are going, oh God, not time management, please, no. Well, I have a very structured way of thinking about time so that you actually build a relationship with time instead of running away from it or letting it just float away, right? We've all been in relationships probably where if you don't put time into the relationship, it either, blows up on you or it just floats away and disappears. And that's the same thing with your relationship with time. So this is about building your relationship with time, okay? And the first thing I always do is whenever I teach anything, whether it's special education, time management, or even I teach people how to track animals in the winter in the forest. Well, I don't just say, what kind of track is that? No, I say, okay, what kind of forest is this? Is it deciduous? Is it a mix of forest? Where's the riverine? Where's the rock outlays? What are we looking at in terms of the big picture? And that's the thing that I want you to think about with time management too, is looking at the big picture first, okay? And here is the big picture. And you can take a screenshot of this and print it out, or we will have it on our website, the ODS website. This is the big picture. And if you take a look, here is session 1, and there's session 2. Where's session 2 end? And then down there is the winter, the field work begins after Labor Day. So everything's really scrunched, right? And so this will give you a bigger picture of how each session is going to flow, okay? Now, one of the things that you need to look at is time is very sequential. It's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, right? That's left brain processing. If you just have a to-do list, right? I got to do this and I got to do that and I got to do this. And, oh my God, that's language. That's Brokaw's area of the brain, which is also left brain. So if that's all you're doing, then basically you're using half your brain to organize probably the most important factor to get you through this summer, which is how you use your time, okay? And so let's get the right brain involved. The right brain likes visual images and it likes color. And so what I'd like you to do is pick a color for each class, and I want you to fill in the big picture session for the different things. Now, what I'd like you to do first, and this is what it looks like when I work with students, and this is just two courses. First, what I ask you to do is look at the syllabi and identify what are the priorities, right, of the professor. Sometimes I find that students really don't understand that, right? So, sometimes the forum posts are 70 or 80%, right? And the students are focused more on the 2 papers that might be 20%, I don't know. So you want to get a sense of what the priorities are for the professor so that you can really focus on those if you fall behind, right? And you pick a color for each class and you write down all the different assignments. And then you take a look at what are some of the routines in it, right? You have a routine here, right? That there's a forum post and a response every week, right? So you need to build that in as a routine to your schedule. And then you look at the hotspots, right? So the hotspots for this student would be probably right in here, right? And also right at the end. There's always a hotspot at the end of the session, right? And so then you know that, okay, during that week leading up to it, right? Boy, I got to really be on the ball and I got to start writing my papers then. I also have to communicate to anybody who I'm living with, my significant other, my family, that as it leads up to that hotspot, you're going to disappear a little bit because otherwise you're not going to be able to get that hotspot done, right? So that's a hotspot. And then building up to, you know, group paper and a 7-page paper and stuff, that's going to be important. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about reading skills and also a way of looking at writing papers so that you can dive into them earlier, right? And so if we can do step by step and build it into your time management, it will actually move you through some of these papers a lot easier without as much pressure, okay? So the first step, dun, da, 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 is the big picture, and it gives you the flow of the semester, including the percentages that each course is going to be looking at, right? The second thing, coming down now from the semester, we're coming now down to the week. And the week, the tool that I like to use is the weekly grind, right? And take a look, it's very sequential again, right? But it's also going to be very visual, as you'll see in a minute. So I'm going to hold this up for a second. You can stop the video if you want and take a screenshot, or you can get it off of our website, okay? So take a look. First thing you do is put in your sleep patterns, all the basics, right? When you go to bed, when you get off your screens, when you have lunch, breakfast, lunch, dinner, when you have, you know, hopefully with your family, maybe, or your significant other or friends, or maybe Zoom with friends and have dinner. So build in the sleep patterns and also your eating, right? So that's the first thing. Build that in. Then put in the structures that you like to, that you're going to have to live with. The streaming live classes, the tutorials, the office hours, family expectations. I don't know if any of the clubs this summer will be running. You may have to be meeting with clubs. Be very careful about clubs. I found a lot of my social work students get so involved with the clubs that they fall apart with some of their academic work. Keep your eye on the prize, right? Which is graduating, which is learning what you need to learn in these courses and graduating. Keep your eye on the prize, okay? So that's the second thing, is put all the external structures down. And then mark down your free time in blocks. That's the orange, right? So take a look at all the streaks that show the orange. And build a routine for the synchronous, asynchronous classes, readings, exercising, right? We're really looking at balance. Balance your life even if you're in school, right? You need to do that. Eat, sleep, work out, or take a walk, get out into the woods, whatever lowers your stress. Do yoga, whatever it is, because you're going to need to balance your life, right? And this is really important because you're going to be role modeling in your own life what hopefully you would like to pass on as health and well-being to the people who you're going to be working with in your social working practice, okay? So live the life that you would like to help people move towards, all right? So take a look at that. You know, the question is, when do I work on the 505? When do I post? When do I work on the 500 and post and then respond on Friday, right? So that's sort of the weekly grind. And you have to build in when you're going to do it, right? And so then, right, you have flex time that you're responsible for. Now, if you don't build in some things like, let's see, I'm going to read and post here for 500. I'm going to read and post here, right? You want to do maybe read and post here, right? If you don't build in these things, then every time you get up on a Monday morning, or you have dinner with your family on, you know, and then come out, you're going to be negotiating with yourself constantly. right? About all the minutes of your day. So you're going to have to create some structure and routine so that, let's say you get up Monday morning and you know that it's read 5:05 for Tuesday. You just know, right? You're not negotiating with yourself. You're not saying, now what should I do today? No, you are doing it. And if you create a routine where, okay, Monday, Wednesday, I read for 5:05 and maybe I post after class or something here, right? That will get you to start thinking that I don't really negotiate. I have created already some structure to my day, right? That is going to basically get me going. And then maybe I build in, right? Let's see, maybe I build in YouTube here, right? Because I've done the work and I've gone to class and I've done everything I need to do, right? So maybe here I'm going to do a game with a friend on the web. So start thinking about that, right? Where are you going to do your work for each of your classes? And then where are you going to do some rewards for yourself? And then you can start to see, you can then self-monitor that, okay, Monday, I put in 3 hours, 3 1-hour blocks Monday morning to read 5:05, and I didn't get it done, which means, okay, I'm monitoring that. So now I'm going to have to put it somewhere else. Maybe I have to put a little bit more reading here of 5:05 because it's such an intense, in-depth reading. I don't know. So that's where you connect time with the task that you're going to be doing over the course of the session, right? So you're responsible for your flex time. And so what you want to do is start building in as much of a routine as you can so that you don't have to negotiate, right? If you don't have a plan, right? If you don't have a plan for the day, right? Then the week is going to be really tough. You're going to get to the end of the week and go, oh my God, what happened, right? And so the next thing is the daily planner. That's the biggie, right? That's where the rubber meets the road in a lot of ways. And so it needs to be mobile. It needs to be visual of the day to bring the right brain in. And of course, you need to have space for either a to-do list or a do list, D-U-E list, right? And so this is what this student's daily planner looked like. I always talk to people about keeping 2 weeks of daily planner so that you're not surprised coming into next week. Like look at this schedule, right? There's a paper due on Monday and a paper due on Tuesday of next week. And so what then you need to start looking at is where are the blocks of time, right? Let's here and here, maybe some blocks here. Maybe this is where you tell your significant other, I'm disappearing on you. For this week leading up to it, I'm just going to be full out flat. And that helps relationships when you can create some communication where, okay, this is the week where, it's going to hit the fan. And I need your help to support me through it. Something like that, okay? And so there's the flex time that you have to start moving through these papers, okay? So this is what a daily planner for me looks like with students over the course of a 2-week period, right? And then we plan those blocks of time around their flex time, right? Trying to keep the healthy pieces in your schedule, like running Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever, doing yoga Tuesday, Thursday. Keep those in. Those are the things that are going to ground you. Where a lot of times things go awry is here, right? In the sleep patterns. People start going to bed later at night, getting up earlier. I would suggest going to bed at the same time so that you get some sleep and then maybe get up a little earlier if you have to, right? People who go to bed, they usually go to bed at, let's say, 11 or 12, and they stay up till 2 or 3. How efficient are you being from midnight to 2 o'clock? I find a lot of people are at 30%. So it would be better for them to go to bed at the same time and then get up a little early, because then from, let's say 6 to 7 to 8, they're much more rested, and they're up to, you know, 60, 70, 80%, right? So start thinking about being careful about throwing off your routine and your schedule, because your psyche as well as your body really loves that routine. Okay, so that's what I'm really looking at here. Tools and skills. Remember, time management is a skill, so you really have to practice it. It's something that, it's almost like swimming. I just gave you goggles and a and a swim cap and said, this is how you do it, right? I don't expect you to swim across the Connecticut, okay, or even the lake down down where you live. Okay, so practice it, and we're going to have a question and answer session some point on the web for you, so that we can go over this again and talk about what you're running into, right? Because it's not to be done perfectly at all, and you're going to run into some things. Well, what do I do here? What do I do there? Because this isn't working or whatever. And also look for the next video, which will be really about structuring your reading strategies, as well as the writing papers, because that's what's going to throw everything off, right? All of a sudden, where is it? All of a sudden, you know, you're doing good, and then all of a sudden you hit, you know, your hotspot, and it's, oh my God, I got to write 2 papers. They're only 5 pages, but that's a lot of language when you're also trying to fit all this other stuff in. Okay, so that's what we're going to really try to talk about as well in the next video. So remember, we are all in this together. So let's help each other out and be kind. Okay, and I hope this has helped you a little bit. And I will see you at one of the videos, as well as the office hours. Okay, take care, everybody. And